In 1664, Captain Leonard Girl, a nurseryman who was later to become the king's gardener, received an order for 65 fruit trees. In pride of place were 20 different varieties of peach and 5 of nectarines, in which Girl specialized, but there were also apricots, figs, plums, and grapevines. Girl's nursery, where the young trees were growing, was not, as one might expect, deep in the English countryside, but in Shoreditch, only a few hundred feet outside the old walls of the City of London. It covered 12 acres of what is now the Brick Lane or Bangla Town area of East London, with its South Asian restaurants and shops selling brightly coloured saris. Peaches and nectarines were recent introductions to English orchards and the walls of kitchen gardens. Shakespeare, writing between 1590 and 1612, does not mention peach except as a colour, but some of the other plants that Girl supplied were the luxuries that Queen Titania, in A Midsummer Night's Dream, ordered her fairies to give to her enchanted lover, Bottom, with his ass's head. Feed him with apricots and dewberries, with purple grapes, green figs, and mulberries. Girl's trees were to be supplied, however, to a more mundane customer, William Allington, 3rd Baron Allington, for his new house, Horseheath Hall, in Cambridgeshire. Allington, whose family had owned land there since 1397, as well as manors in several other English counties, was rebuilding his mansion. He and his father had kept a low profile during the English Civil War of 1642 to 51 and the following interregnum, and had escaped the fines or confiscation of lands that affected other royalist aristocrats more openly loyal to the throne. Now, with the restoration of Charles II in 1660, Allington clearly felt confident enough to embark on a major building project for which he engaged the aristocratic architect Sir Roger Pratt. The house was on a grand scale, with a 500-foot frontage, the most imposing in the country of that date. In 1670, the diarist and garden writer John Evelyn dined there, and remarked waspishly that Allington had newly built a house at great cost, little less than £20,000, standing in a park with a sweet prospect and stately avenue, but water still defective. The house also has its infirmities. Evelyn says nothing else about the lake or the rest of the garden, of which little remains, but it seems to have been on an equally grand scale. There was a great terrace between the house and a slightly sunken garden, with flanking walled areas for fruit and vegetables. The stately avenue was more than a mile long, and the garden was divided into elaborate compartments. The family's fortune rested on land and the rents from it, although Allington also held lucrative government posts and served as Constable of the Tower of London from 1679. Whatever its source, his wealth was enough to afford a very costly new house and garden. Girl's trees for the orchard or kitchen garden represented a small fraction of that cost at £8 and 3 shillings. However, each specimen of the most expensive varieties of peach, a Provence, a Lion, a Violet Muscat, and a Persian peach, cost 5 shillings, a large sum at the time. Girl's customers were of the highest quality, and he ended his career as the royal gardener at St. James's, the King's Palace in central London, so Allington was clearly buying from the best, or at least the most expensive.